Hi, I'm Peggy Sharon, and my speech concerns the duties of a generic drug company. A Mr. Yakirevich read in the newspapers that Vioxx was removed from the shelves in the United States in 2004 by Merck, the manufacturer, because of new studies that showed increased risks to the heart failure, etc. She ran to the Tel Aviv District Court and filed a class action concerning another drug, Cellcox, which took to ease her rheumatic pains. And she argued that both drugs, the Vioxx and the Cellcox, are identical, and therefore the Cellcox should also be removed from the shelves, as this is a dangerous drug, and that all the potential risks associated with the drug were not correctly published in the leaflet or in the label in the package of the drug. The class action was filed in Tel Aviv. The argument was that when she learned about the risks, she felt anxiety, suffered from mental anguish and despair. As you know, in the first stage, the court should be convinced that there is a good cause of action to the claimant, and also that there is a group, a class of other claimants that suffered the same risk and have the same cause of action. Well, what happened in this first stage? We represented the generic manufacturer, an Israeli company called Trima, and as you know, when a patent expires or it is not existent, another company can manufacture the same drug that was authorized for marketing, but it has to prove that it is identical to the brand name drug authorized in the market. Cellcox was this generic drug. We argued, first of all, that it is not identical to the Vioxx, and secondly, that as a generic company, we did publish every risk and every study which is relevant to be published in order to warn both the patients and the doctors. I should mention that this drug is not sold over the counter, but requires a prescription from the doctors. What did the court decide? First of all, the court made the distinction between the brand name and the generic manufacturer. The main difference between the two is that the former needs to carry out researches and studies to prove three things: efficacy, safety, and quality of the drug. For this reason, the brand name drug is expensive in view of the very significant amounts invested in the clinical trials, studies, and researches before and after the marketing of the drug. What is required from the generic manufacturer? A generic company can produce the same drug, but it has to prove that it is identical to the brand name drug, which was approved for marketing, and it does not have to prove all these three elements. Judge Ronen from the Tel Aviv District Court appointed an expert and posed to him a question. Did the information included in the label of the drug reflect the knowledge concerning the risks at stake at the relevant times? The expert answered this question in the affirmative, which means that Trima's label reflected the published studies and analyses which were carried out along the years and updated the labels accordingly. The court expert concluded that the defendant had carried out its duty to make doctors and patients aware of all the medical knowledge which was relevant. But the plaintiff further argued that Trima should have independently carried out researches or studies in view of the fact that there was no specific research concerning the cardiovascular risks. So what did the Tel Aviv District Court decide about this question? It decided not to approve the claim as a class action and decided that it is not required by a generic company to independently carry out researches regarding the risks of the use of the drug. The duty of the generic drug company is to follow the world researches and studies concerning the drug, to notify the regulator of any new information, and to act according to the directives of the Health Ministry. The motion was dismissed, and an appeal to the Supreme Court filed by Mrs. Jakirevich was dismissed as well a few months ago. Thank you.